concentrated a little better that time. False release then. I'm on target now. I think I got it then. All right, that time I only missed 2. And I think I shot 12 arrows too. Putting my point right about there. It's not too bad there. All right, if you're still with me, if you enjoyed watching an old man shoot his bow incorrectly, we'll get to the point of my videos. Boy, there's 4, look at that. 4 right there. So that's really the core of where I was aiming. And those did the job. These here are touching each other. The reason that I do this is because I have been given a job by Yeshua the Messiah. He's also known as Jesus Christ. I started believing in Jesus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that was 12 there. Really understanding it about 30 years ago. And when I read his words, he said more than one way that he expected those that believed in him to tell other people about him. Declare my name before men is what he said. Feed my sheep, he also said. And I'm trying to do that. The only way you can declaration is something that comes out of your mouth. That's a word thing. So that's why I'm doing this. Now, when I first started doing this, it honestly seemed a little bit silly to me. But I said, well, he said to do it, okay. Well, I started making these little keychains with my CNC machine. I'm a woodworker, and I would give those out to people. I would go find somebody at the supermarket, start talking to them, and I call that declaring his name. And I say, you know who this is? Well, they would say, Yeshua, yes. Some people couldn't read. I said, that's Jesus' Hebrew name. And that's how I was doing it. I rarely got a chance to talk to people about the gospel and about what he was all about. But this line of declaring his name opened up to me when I found out that you could do YouTube and you could download it or upload it or whatever you do onto there. And we got some of the younger members of the family to help us figure out how to do it. I'm, of course, from the age where you don't know anything about computers. So I'm declaring that name, and along with declaring it, I'm going to tell you who he is and what he said. In my opinion, he is the King of the universe. I think almost everybody knows the story about Jesus, whether they think it's true or just a myth. But he was born, somehow morphed himself into a human body, and became born to a virgin, and grew up and started teaching that he was the Messiah that was expected in the ancient times in Israel. And then he started doing very unusual miracles, including raising people from the dead, healing all manner of sicknesses, casting out demons. He was casting out demons from people. Now, I don't know if all sicknesses are caused by demons now, but I have a very strong feeling that some of them are. I think demons are real. But demons flee from the name Yeshua, and they even flee from the name Jesus, which is the Greek form of Yeshua. So then he announced to his followers, which are also called disciples, that he was going to have to die a horrific death and be crucified, because that act was going to give us a way to enter the kingdom of heaven, because he was dying for the sins that we committed. Well, that's the story, and that, if you know, in a very shortened nutshell. And his deeds and his words were recorded in the New Testament portion of the Bible, in the books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You can read the entire Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in 2 days if you've a mind to, or a week if you want to take it slow. And you can see what he said. Some of you out there, I don't know how you would happen to click on my channel or be listening to this, nor do I know whether it's current, a year from now, 100 years from now. This YouTube, I don't know how far to go. But I want you to go to that Bible if you are getting any idea that you might want to check this story out. This is the greatest story ever told. It's history. His story. The story of Yeshua the Messiah. And if you can believe in him and accept what he's saying in there, he will do a miraculous thing for you. He will take your heartaches away. He will cleanse your heart, and he will give you a new life. It's called being born again. He never promised that he was going to take away your physical suffering. This is a thing that he does to your spirit. You may still have problems. You will have problems in the physical realm. He promised to do something about the spiritual realm. And he said this, Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. The flesh and blood is the flesh. It's physical. That's not it. The kingdom of God is a spiritual thing. It's a realm that we have suspected is there, but we can't see it. We can't see it. This is what I'd like you to look at in the Bible and see if you can make anything of it. And that's my job, is to declare His name and tell you how to learn about Him, and that's what I'm doing right now. Well, I told you it seemed silly to me at first, and it did. I just couldn't. What good is this going to do? But I have found out since that there are actually people out there that are listening. And we were also told to feed His sheep. His sheep are those that already believe in Him. And that's what a person like myself that is inclined to make these videos is trying to feed the sheep. And by the way, the sheep out there that are listening to me, they're also feeding me. Now, they're not feeding me with real food, and I'm not feeding them with food. I'm feeding them the kind of food that Christ fed them, which is words. Feeding them words. And a lot of them out there are also feeding me by making comments and sometimes giving remarks that feed my needs. So we're feeding each other. It's a community. All right. This is Gardener Israel. I hope I get to talk to you again.